tips regarding networking that you implement in your daily lives and that you would like to share with us today. So maybe if we go by alphabetical order, Caroline, if you want to begin with this first question.
Sorry, as you can hear, I have my kids like around, so please repeat the question. I was not totally with you. Sorry for that. I was like sure that it would be like that to begin. So please.
Absolutely no worries. Yeah, I was just introducing the first warm-up question, which basically is what are some tips regarding networking that you would share with us today and that help you in your daily life when you come to meeting new people.
So I can give you just networking is essential for your job or for your just for your business. So it's everything. It's crucial. So you need to work on it. It's not something that a must add, but really something that you really need to work and to really implement in your life. Like it's not something that you just say, oh yeah, I don't want to network. No, it's essential. You want to have the dream job, you want to have a great business, you need to work on it. And so if you don't know how to do it, you have tools, and we'll talk about that. You have events, but you need just to go and to try just to implement some action. And the idea is really finding someone with common interest. You can have fresh idea. You can have just a benchmark for your society, for your company. So really, it's working on the common interest, looking at the person, and not like saying, "I will network for network." No, you have no like many times you are a lot of work, and so you need to be precise and look at the right profile. And at an event, it could be like an introduction, or on social network such as LinkedIn or other tools for networking.
Target your networking. Sounds good. Well noted. Thank you, Caroline. What about you, Lorenzo? How would you answer this first question?
So thank you very much, Constance, for this question. So I think I could share some tips and tricks, but also some remark about the how to manage when you are meeting some new peoples. And the first one is I see that most of the time the people you are interested in to meet, the people that are the most interesting for you, they will not give you some card, the card with your name and the numbers. So basically in an event, when someone is giving you a card, probably it's not the people that you want to meet. So basically how to attract and take the attention of someone that don't want to give you a card. And here is a very important question, because it's the same when we are talking about pitching. How to take the attention, retain the attention, and create a relationship with this person to obtain something, to obtain a meeting, to obtain a number, an email address. And to get that and to go into that process, what is very important is the first impression. So it means that, and I'm sure that everyone heard about it, the first impression, the first 3 seconds are so important. And to make this first impression a good first impression, we need to have in mind that 80% of what you say and 80% of what people keep in mind is about emotions, is about the posture. So if you work on the posture, if you work on the emotion that you transmit or transfer to them, maybe they will keep something in mind after your meeting. So if you want to make the difference, the first point is to smile, is to share empathy, is to stay calm, is to articulate, and maybe something more to keep and attract their attention is not to talk about you, but to try to talk about them. If you ask them some questions, they will talk. If they talk, they feel that they are important. If they feel important with you, they will have the feeling that they want to continue discussing with you. So my point is to say, go and try to obtain from the people that don't want to give you the card, and try to obtain from them something. And that's what Caroline was saying just before we started the meeting. It's how to obtain a next step, how to keep something for a new meeting, another session. So that are my points. Yeah.
Many points, many food for thought. Thank you, Lorenzo. Namita, would you add anything to everything that we've discussed already? What is your way of networking efficiently?
Maybe I'll try and because of the virtue of going third, I think I do a big plus ones to what both of my co-panelists said. Just a couple of things from my side that I'll add is that for me, purpose is a very big deal. Like being very purposeful in life and very thoughtful about what you're doing. I would say defining the purpose is very important for a networking event, be it a virtual event or it's an on-ground event where you're meeting people. Sort of having that bit of clarity within yourself. I'm very sure about like, am I going for a job? Am I going to get some advice? Am I just going for the reason because I want to be social with people? Am I going to build my network? Am I going to meet new people? Or am I just going to expand my knowledge? So I think having that clarity of thought and purpose and going with an event with that sort of clarity, it really helps to kind of put your sort of the engagement in context. The second thing I would say is being intentional and being a bit more value driven. There is nothing wrong in letting the people know why you're there and what your intention is and what value you want to exchange with them. Not only what you want to derive from them, but also what you want to give to them in exchange. Very rightly said by Lorenzo just before this. Think about that value exchange piece. And the last thing I would say is quality matters over quantity. Sometimes, we are all in the rat race of how many connections you've made or how many cards you've exchanged or how many people you've connected with. But I think it's more about doing lesser, fewer things done better and more meaningful, deeper connections. So that's something that you can take back and build upon over a period of time. It's always said like, be the tortoise and don't be the hare. It takes a lot of patience over time to build those deep connections. So I think that's my, I would say, a couple of tips.
Amazing. Very, very complete. Sounds great. So maybe taking all of these answers together, what are some extra tips that you would give to people who are introverts? So it's enough of a challenge already for extroverts, to keep calm, go to the right person with the right intention. But when you're an introvert, I don't know if some of you among this panel would consider themselves as introverts, but what extra tip would you give to these people who are already scared of taking the step to someone else? Maybe Namita, if you want to take the lead.
Absolutely. I love that. And Constance, to your question as well, I am like a self-proclaimed 100% guaranteed introvert myself. So I feel for a lot of people out there, and I feel probably, if we have people on this group right now who are also struggling with those things, I've been there and I've been through that journey. And it is hard work. I would say, you should give yourself the benefit of knowing that if you're an introvert, there are a lot of things that you have in your arsenal, which, people otherwise don't have. I think introverts have an exceptional ability to be amazing listeners, which is such a hard thing to cultivate. So I would say play to your advantage, play to the, skills that you possess. You could easily have much better quality of networks just because you're a good listener and maybe not a good talker. So think about utilizing that. The other thing I would say is there is a lot of emphasis on, great introductions and, breaking the ice or coming across as like exuberant, amazing person in an event. And it's hard, like cut yourself slack. Don't worry if you don't have a great, intro or a meet and greet. Let somebody else take that chance. Let somebody else introduce. And you can be humble, polite. You can take your own time. I would say work on a couple of nice icebreakers. Like I would say practice 2 or 3 icebreakers that you want to always use when you meet new people. That always helps me. I sometimes used to take buddy along with me, like a buddy, so that, I don't feel alone. I have somebody else if I don't find people to talk to, so that it doesn't feel awkward in a place. And I would say the easiest trick is, when you don't know what to say, just throw in a compliment. People love compliments. It will save you a lot of time. It will give you lots of smiles. You will come across as warm. And it's one of the tricks that introvert, and certainly I've used it a lot. Say something nice to somebody about either the appearance or about the event or something that they said, etc. And that kind of makes you ease into the conversations. I would say those are a couple of tricks that I personally use and recommend for introverts. But I'd say they definitely have a big upper hand. I would say they don't have a disadvantage at all.
Love this. Lorenzo, Caroline, would you add anything to what Namita shared with us?
As an extrovert, I think it's kind of difficult sometimes to really, I think it's really great what you said, Namita, because practice, and Lorenzo can help you on it, like practice your pitch. But also I think you can write, and the first contact could be by writing something very original, and you have the time for that, and just this is the first contact, and it's a great icebreaker, I believe. And there is a lot of now social networking platform really allow you to do like that. Not only events, and perhaps COVID was a good one for that, and also but perhaps keep in mind what is your interest, why you need to go outside to ask a question, to answer perhaps your needs, and just sometime you are staying alone and you can't solve everything, and with one coffee, one Teams meeting or something like that, you can solve a lot of things. So you can practice perhaps with family and friends initially, and they can introduce you, and just start by writing perhaps, and then practice and use the social networking platform. I believe when you are an introvert, perhaps it's the easiest way to start. And then you will become such as Namita, and now she's like really, it's easy.
LinkedIn professional. Sounds great. Lorenzo, any other tip that you
Yeah, I love the icebreaker idea of Namita. It's kind of it's a methodology, or it's exercises that we always make when we start a workshop with people that don't know each other. It's probably the best way to create some links and connections. To answer the questions, I'm pretty sure that there is a big difference between something introvert and something that is scared about meeting people, because as Namita was saying, when you are going into a meeting session, a networking session, you have introvert people and extrovert people. If you have a headache, you will prefer introvert people, and if you are open to hear from people that talk a lot, you will like to meet an extrovert people. So it means that you have two types of person, but both can make and can meet some people during during an event. But here, I'm pretty sure that it's a question of personality. It's a question of fear. So even if you are introvert, if you know how to ask questions, if you know how to listen, maybe you can make more connections than an extrovert that will never have some card from the guy or the woman that will never give him or her the card. So sometimes, and I see it on many hackathons and startup weekends, you have people that are just staying alone and waiting, but at the end of the event, they are making a lot of connection because they are just interested in meeting some people and asking some questions. So I'm pretty sure that even if you are like this, you can make some amazing connections. And maybe another tips is the fear is something that can disappear. It's the same when you practice a sport. You are scared about maybe swimming in the ocean. So if you practice 1, 2 times, 3 times, etc., the fear will disappear. And I was very scared about pitching in front of Pitch Academy. And the first time I did it, I was as if I was an actor in front of people. Scared about pitching, play your role. Imagine that you are an actor and you are a new person. You have a new personality, and that could help a lot. Because if you are someone different, if you have a new personality, you can do everything. So maybe you can start with a new personality, and at the end, it will be your new ways of connecting people.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so you did mention, Lorenzo, that it takes 3 seconds to make a good impression. What about the next 30 seconds? What makes a great personal pitch?
I think what makes a great personal pitch is the interest and the empathy that you share to the people that is in front of you. The type of question you ask, and for sure, I join what Caroline was saying. Prepare your questions. You can prepare your questions. You can write them down before the event and ask the same question for everyone. It could work a lot. You prepare your question, you train yourself to ask those questions in the right order every time, and this will create a discussion. So I think that is really important to give and to share empathy, emotions, something real. And I think the third question is about what kind of question we can add. So maybe the most amazing questions I heard and someone asked me one day is, what is your genius? I was lost. I was totally lost.
And what was your
But
genius?
I don't have the answer, and this question shocked me, and I was like, during the whole night, it was an amazing party. During the whole night, I was thinking about these questions, and I remember this girl. She just asked me these questions, and I'm wondering today again why I didn't find the answer. So some questions and good questions can be better than a card.
Okay, so if I resume it correctly, it's not necessarily important to introduce yourself or how you introduce yourself, just building your personal pitch as long as you have the good questions and you start the discussion.
Yeah. It's the same when you present yourself. Imagine you are making a conference and you are giving all of your CV to everyone. Do you think people will go to LinkedIn to check what you are doing? No, never. But if you just explain your experience and say something inspirational about you, for sure they will come to LinkedIn and check your profile. And if they check your profile, they will retain everything because it's written. If you are telling them, they will just keep 1 or 2 information from your pitch because they don't care and they just want to drink. You see what I mean? So here is how to attract the attention by asking something that will shock or that will keep their attention for a while.
What is your genius? I'll remember that one.
Don't ask me.
Switching it over to you, Namita. Digital networking was pretty prominent even before the pandemic, and now we're seeing more and more of it. Do you have any recommendations and practical advice for people trying to network online?
Absolutely. And I must warn that my answer is going to be slightly biased towards LinkedIn. I've had the privilege to be 8 years with the company. So I do have to mention some stats just for the penny to drop and for the audience to realize the importance of network, the importance of digital presence and importance of a platform like LinkedIn. So we are about 756 million people globally on the platform at the moment. For context, just in Europe, we are 198 million people on the platform. This is a community of professionals who are like thoroughly engaged, are sharing content, are always present, etc. Just in calendar year 20, which was last year when the pandemic was at its peak, we garnered about 443 billion impressions on the platform, which just tells you how many people are coming on the platform and how many people are interacting. There are about 3 people getting hired on the platform every second. There are about 10 every minute. There are about 10 in-mails, which is in-mails about exchanging about jobs, etc., being sent every minute. So that's the power of the platform, and that's the power of an online community, and that's the one that is out for everybody to leverage. And Karina, the way you position it, yes, it's always been there, but now it has really peaked, and now it's not just a a necessity that we need to adapt to, but it's going to be part of our lives for a very, very long time. There was Cisco's annual report stated that 80% of the traffic for the next 5 years is going to be in digital conferencing facilities, rooms, some sort of like digital mechanism where people come and conference together. That's a huge statistic. That really tells us that we need to be like digital ready in terms of our networking capabilities. I would say the first thing I would say is have your profile ready. I mean, as rudimentary and as fundamental and as sort of basic it may sound, you'll be surprised. And because we have that first view, first seat advantage of having that view of people's profile, a lot of people don't have their digital profiles ready. So, and I'm not saying just on LinkedIn, be it on like Instagram or any other social media networks, etc. Do you have a picture which speaks volumes about you as a person? Are you like nicely represented? Do you have a headline? Is your purpose or what you do or some part of your skills or your work, etc., being well described if people visit your digital profile? So I think investing some time and energy in getting that right is like really, really important. The other thing I would say is try and connect digitally in a very meaningful way, because you don't have your personality in place. I could come across as a nice, warm, friendly person to connect with when I meet you in person, but unfortunately I won't come across like that on my email or when you visit my LinkedIn profile. So my words have to do the talking. What you read needs to do the talking. So I would say invest a lot of time in some of those things in your emails or the written communications or the messages that you're sending. Be intentional, be value-based, be concise, be clear about what you want to achieve. So I think that clarity of communication is where one needs to invest when in a virtual world. Then I would say is use the online platforms to really engage with the audience. So, be it post or be it sharing experiences, be thoughtful, be creative. It's like know your audience, who you're engaging with, why you're putting out stuff. Is it engaging enough? Is it out of the box? Be your authentic self, because you don't want to be, I suddenly don't want to talk about a topic which I have no idea about just because it's the it topic to talk about. So I think being authentic and being true to yourself and bringing your personality and your passions on an online platform and talking about it is really meaningful. And it's also necessary to be very ready for the virtual environment. So I think be thoughtful about your meeting rooms or conferencing facilities, be it Zoom or be it Teams, etc. Your background, your audio visual elements, the lighting, how you're coming across, etc. Because those are some of the things can set you apart, or some of the technical challenges can give you that disadvantage. And lastly, I would say, invest a lot of time in the communications, be it verbal or be it written. Have those principles in place, be engaging, be inclusive, tips like how do you break the ice, or how do you connect within the first 30 seconds? How do you be mindful of people's time and energy, etc. So some of things I think are incredibly important when sort of working and networking digitally.
Okay, sounds good. So trying to come across as yourself via your digital image. It sounds easier.
You have to practice. Yeah. You have to practice what you preach, isn't it?
So maybe talking about digital images and digital platforms, I think the next question is the perfect transition to the next question, which is for Caroline. Because networking and digital platforms can be used in the form of specific targets or specific social purposes. So maybe Caroline, do you want to talk about 15 Tech and what you guys are doing for?
So we saw a need for women in tech to have a safe place and to network with peers and to be connected with the inclusive company. So we had Filter, so it's like less powerful, of course, than LinkedIn, and we are not in any competition on it. But really, it's like a safe place when we can ask and be in touch with people and be matched with people in a safe environment. We know that in tech we are losing women for now. 1 in 2 is leaving tech after 8 years of experience due to discrimination, due to harassment. Online, there is a lot of harassment and especially when the voice of women are expressing, on Twitter, that's super hard. And so we have created this space, and we are advising women to be really concrete and concise. As you said, Namita, we saw really a differences between men and women has come to network. Sometimes they are saying, hey, I just want to take a coffee. Okay, I have a secret project and a secret domain. So please take a coffee with me. It's impossible to ask like that, because as for me, for example, if I'm receiving this kind of ask, I have no idea about the project. I don't know if I can help. I have 2 kids. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like a volunteer at OnlyFans, and so a lot of things to do. So if I have not like the idea of how I can help you, and I'm doing that, I think like 3 or 4 times per week, I'm taking a meeting for a mentoring session, networking session, like opening, even it's like not directly linked to my agenda and my business and so on. I'm doing that for peers, so women in tech and entrepreneurs. I'm doing that a lot. But just, you need to be precise. I'm fundraising. I know that you are knowing that person and that person. Okay, can you help me? Oh, you did that. Okay. If I have no time, I will say, I have no time, please, I can do that in 1 month, or can you wait, or please perhaps contact that person, I will give an introduction. If it's not related to my, how I can help, I will perhaps not answer. So, and I'm seeing like a lot of time, really women are really just not depressing, but it's like I have a little project and a little thing. Could you help me, please? No, that's not a way of doing. So be precise, prepare a Calendly. I don't know. You need to make it easy for the person that you are asking for, and really be precise how can help you.
Let's all be confident in our outreach like this. Maybe so to jump on this, once you've made the connection with the person, once you've either started talking online or you met for a coffee or something, what are some tips that you have to maintain the relationship with this person? How if you're not working with this person directly, how can you keep the contact? How can you maintain the
Lorenzo, you want to start?
Okay, I think I will have a short answer. I can just give you my way of keeping a relationship with new clients or new people I want to make business with, is to try to share some moments, share some key moments. So what I can do is to invite them sharing a moment in our office to discover where we work, to discover our events, to give them some free masterclasses or free coaching just to discover how I do it, and to let them enter into my world. And when they know how we work and how I work, the one that loves it, they continue with me. The one that don't love it, they don't continue with me. So I try to share some key moments and to create a friendship with them. So yeah, my way to do it.
We might have a few requests after this event. Sounds good. Namita, how would you advise us to how would you keep a bond with someone you've met once or discussed with once online?
I'd say, and this is something that I said on my LinkedIn profile about the event before sort of dialing in today. I shared it on LinkedIn about the definition of networking. And I'd written on the post that networking is about connecting with people, connecting people with people, and connecting people with opportunities. And that's how, in a holistic way, I kind of view it. So one is like, if I'm connecting with people, it's that clarity of purpose and what is the value exchange. And I can give a personal example. I am a women leader in LinkedIn, doing my bit for the company. There are other passionate areas that I have, but when I'm connecting with, either a mentor or a coach or somebody I need advice from or somebody that I look up to, I give them that clarity of purpose, and I think about the value exchange. That okay, why will this person connect with me? What am I bringing to that? And there could be things like I am a racially diverse woman leader, and there is a lot of things that I can add to a person who that person may not be aware about. And I'm intentional about telling them that, hey, I want this from you, and this is what I can bring to the table. So one is that creates that kind of longevity in the relationship, depth in that relationship, and a little bit of a purpose. Also the sense of accountability, of keeping each other accountable, not just because somebody has connected with you, it's not just an obligation to carry on for a very long time of connecting and, having, chats which don't have a purpose, but it's about how can you keep each other accountable, that, hey, are you getting what I promised you? Am I getting what you promised me, etc. Keeping each other accountable as well. I would also say there's a lot of benefit on connecting your network, the person you're networking with, to your networks. I think that reciprocity is something that we all need to think about as well, that it's not just me connecting with somebody, but if I've connected with somebody, can I connect that person with somebody else, or I can bring somebody else to that? It's not a one, two people cozy relationship. It can be a bigger crowd as well. So yeah, those are some of the things that I think about when I'm trying to build that relationship and the longevity over time. And sometimes also, out of no rhyme or reason, thinking about that person and, connecting with them by a short note or sending them something, either it's a physical, like either a memento or a gift or a card or a thank you note, like in a virtual world, quite an antithesis, but the power of snail mail sometimes always does wonders as well. So it's how do you keep the relationship going, right? It's like the courtship period. The courtship period is over, but then the marriage needs to work as well. So that depends on the depth of that relationship.
It sounds great. Lorenzo, I saw you had your hand, your raised hand. Is this on purpose? I didn't even know the function was available on.
No, I just wanted to add something, but after Caroline, please. Okay. I wanted to add something because when we are organizing some key moments, and I always say to my team, try to find something that you have in common with the person you meet. And it's kind of an icebreaker. That is why I'm putting this here, because it's kind of an icebreaker. You try to find what you have in common with the person that you have in front of you. I'm pretty sure that we meet the people that I'm pretty sure that there is a reason why we meet some people every time. So when you go somewhere, there is a reason why you meet this person at this time for something. I don't know why, but there is always something that you can do with the person you meet. So I think kind of an exercise that everyone can make is try to ask the questions to find what you have in common with the people, because if you have something in common, you will have a relationship, and a long relationship. So imagine if your prospect, your future clients is making or is doing a basketball. If you share the same passion, for sure you will discuss about it, and for sure you will continue and maybe watch the next basketball game with these people. So that could be a nice icebreaker.
And just to add some little thing, but I think you can nourish the relationship. So you can, like, I don't know, read an article and think to this person and to say, okay, I want to share that with you. I thought that's important for you, and we have this common interest. So what do you think? And it's like, you don't ask a coffee, you don't ask like something, but you are just giving something. And I think giving some interesting data that you have, I don't know, that you can like just give to this person that you want perhaps then interact with. I think it's a good way to make it. And so you can, of course, share masterclasses, but an article, a post, interact on it, share a DM thing. I saw that, and I think it's really good what you said, and that's my point of view. I don't know, just not like some advertising, post that you are doing for all of the people, but if you want really to do it for special people that you really want to target and you want to interact with. I think it's a good way to do it. And even for my business, sometimes I'm sharing just new data or new information, not coming from 15 Tech, but just to interact with the person and just to perhaps share an advice, or I don't know. I think it's a good way to maintain the relation without to be like pushy and with the same methodology, such as like, I don't know, business growth hacker people.
Okay, just before moving to the next question, a quick reminder to our audience, if you have questions, put them in the chat to avoid having 10 of them in the last 5 minutes, because we will be mindful of everybody's time and won't go much overboard. Now up to the next question. We've talked about how to network, how to interact, how to approach the other people, but there's also a question of when, right? Do we need to network all the time, right? It takes time just building that image and just entertain that. It takes constant work. Do we do it always, or do we do it when we need something, when we're looking for work? How do we go about it? And I'll take it the other way around. Caroline, I'll give it to you first.
Yeah, for me, it's like kind of routine. So you can have like different intensity. So for example, I need to fundraise. I will do a lot of networking, like a lot. Like, really, it will be like intense. It will be like my main job, and I will do it for 3 months, and I will do only that. So please give me an intro, looking at your LinkedIn, looking at the NFX platform and so on. Okay, intensity. But for me, just a question of routine. If you are stopping to be present everywhere on a social networking platform, you are not existing anymore. You are not doing like connection. And so you don't need to do like every week a meeting. But if you are not doing, I think for you, for your next opportunity to answer your question, it's not a good habit to have. So a little routine, perhaps to say, okay, I have like one connection per week. With a purpose. It's not like you can have like only curiosity. I know people like that. They need to have that. It's like a drug, and they need to interact with people, and so that's a kind of person. But if you are not that kind of person, you can just have this objective to have someone to answer perhaps one question. And if you are like in the business, you have no choice. So you need to do. And if you are looking for a job, you need to be really present and active. So depending of the moment of your life, I think, but keep the routine and with a purpose and an objective, because it will motivate you to continue and to really go and really go actively look for this one interaction.
Namita, I'll switch it to you.
Sorry, did you say me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. I would say I'm a big fan of consistency. Consistency over time builds that kind of network, and also big one on quality versus quantity. So I might go for fewer people, but I would go for like regular engagements over a period of time. Things may increase when there is something about a particular job or something about not really job. I can't say I've been in the same company for a very long time, but if it's about, an event that's happening that we're keen to get all our, key clients and talk about it, then obviously there will be peaks and lows that will flow with the seasonality of the business. But otherwise, I would say finite number of people and investing in those relationships and going deep over a long period of time. And I'm a big fan of analogy, as you may have realized in me talking, and I think about it as like a bank account. Make periodic investments over time, so when then one opportunity comes, you can actually make that withdrawal. That's usually beneficial for you. And it's sometimes just one or two meaningful connections can completely change your life, give you an opportunity you never had thought about, or give you a job you never thought about. Give you an exposure or an experience you would have never thought about. So I would say that only builds over a very long period of time with consistency and the depth of relationship. So yeah, I would say more over time, and a slow burn is what I'd go for.
How about you, Lorenzo?
Totally agree of what Caroline and Namita said. For me, it's a sport, so you have to practice.
Again, fake it so you make it.
Yeah.
Okay, how? I mean, you can opt out of this question. It's if it hasn't happened to you, but networking is very and can be very cultural. How do you go about it how do you go about it when it comes to a culturally mixed scene? How do you interact with other cultures, and how do you go about this? I'll take it the other way around.
I'm happy to go. I'm happy to go first, just by the virtue of being culturally quite different, just because I've spent a big portion of my life and time back home in India, in Mumbai, and I've moved to UK only 5 years ago. So I did find myself in this completely, a cultural potboiler in middle of London media scene, which was very, very different than back home. And that level of cosmopolitan culture doesn't exist at all back home. So I did have to grapple with it. But if I'm honest, over time, and by the virtue of being Indian, I'll be honest, there's a bit of transparency, there's a bit of, honesty, and there's a bit of directness that is inbuilt, culturally with me. And as I say, always build to your strength. Play to your strengths. And I've been in the places where, I find it, I sometimes don't understand what people said or, wrote. I was unable to read between the lines. And sometimes I was perplexed whether, do they get what I said? Did the penny drop? This is what I meant. And did they exactly interpret what I meant? And, being honest and being direct has really helped in that cases, because, I clarify that, hey, and I be honest that, hey, I'm not from here. This is what I meant. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to be polite. Is this what you understood? And I played. I tell them that, hey, I'm not from here. I'm from a very different place and a very different culture. And I just wanted to make sure, because I wanna come across as somebody who is, thoughtful and considerate and sort of culturally aware. And if I'm sometimes not aware about somebody's culture, I would ask those questions from a genuine place of curiosity. So I would say, sometimes just ask, be honest, be transparent, and give them the benefit of doubt that, they may not know about you. So have that level of, thorough, sort of authentic chat, and that kind of makes wonders. And I've thankfully passed that phase, and I'm in a much, much better place now.
Sounds great. Caroline, Lorenzo, any one of you want to?
Yeah, we have all different culture, and so if you are like an international network with people in UK, with people in Germany, just be careful of being inclusive. So don't come with your culture and say, okay, I'm French and I will do that because I'm French, and so that's perhaps sometimes difficult. Sometimes I have difficulty to interpret. UK clients, for example, they would be very polite and to say, that's really great, and then they never will come back to you. So it's really, you need to really be aware and really listen to the small thing, and really be careful to not be brutal and to come with your culture and to say that's I don't know, that's as coming with your religion and so on, and to say that always the same. No, it's being inclusive is be careful, be attentive, and not come brutally with what you are. So it's not a concrete advice, but you can look at the different culture, and if you have a global network more in UK or more in Germany or more in Spain, you can just look at the cultural aspect and be careful about that, because you can't be someone really different. And so with Namita said, be honest, and if you don't know if the person interprets well, ask, I think. Sorry, my kids just around with a lot of noise, sorry.
I again totally agree with Caroline and Namita, and maybe what I could add is before you go and make business in other countries, my recommendation would be to check just in Google, in the internet, how do they make business in those countries. I have so many stories, amazing stories in different countries that could shock everyone. But if I at this period, if I took the time to check in the internet, go to those countries, I could have made more business. Few example, I was making business with South Arabian people, and after discussing, he took my arm and my hand, and we were walking with hand and hands in hands in the streets. I was not used to do it, so it was so different. I went to Singapore without any card, and we entered the office. I said that I don't have any card. They didn't talk to me anymore during 2 hours. They never talk to me. So no hello, no bye-bye, not how are you, nothing. I was not here. I was in the room, but I was not here. So I have so many stories in Japan. If you ask too many questions, they think that you are making something on them. So you're like a policeman. So many stories, but I'm pretty sure that every countries have a story, have a way to make some business, and it's kind of, it could be a passion, and it's awesome, and I love to discover how they make business because every time it's different. But what I know also is that foreigners loves the French way to make business. They love to make la bise, like this after a meeting. They love to drink red wine. So the French culture is well accepted in so many countries, even in Japan, in South Arabian, everywhere. So we have our way to make relationships, but I think it's kind of both. We need to adapt and sometimes give them the French culture. So they love it, and we love to discover their culture. But if you want to make business with a foreigner, I think you should type on Google before.
Yeah, I very much relate with your experience, Namita, as a foreigner in another
I have so many
country.
others. I have so many others.
If I sum this up, right, it's one, ask. Two, don't come with your culture too aggressively unless you're French.
Yeah.
And three, Google it.
and go with red wine. Every time it works.
Except in Muslim country, perhaps.
Yes, of course.
And
Yeah.
maybe just to jump on this, so about the cultural practices, so we've touched upon that, and something that we were talking about before this call, Caroline was saying also that in terms of gender practices, there could be differences in the way that men and women approached and practiced networking. Do you mind sharing with the audience what we were discussing?
Yeah, that is this study saying that men are really networking with the first network, so that means school, and they are using this network for all their life. And for women, it's a little bit different, and perhaps changing. We were talking about that with Constance and Karina, but with the tool and so on, we can keep the relation. But women are just building the network with the experience, so they need to have like kind of women at every level to leverage the network. So that's really a different way to do, and that's a fact and that's a study, but perhaps it will change with the tools and the new habits that we have. But really, and we can see that in tech clearly, we have the same clones everywhere because this is the same school, and so they are using it for all their life sometime, and recommendation and referral is working really well, and so for women it's kind of harder to leverage that network, so they need to be really careful to build something during their work experience outside, and perhaps not so much, but really a qualitative way in order to leverage the network and go to the next level.
So maybe talking about the tools that you were mentioning, Caroline, maybe the last question of this session could be, what are some of the tools that you recommend our audience to use to enhance or start networking? Some people might be new to this. Yes, Lorenzo.
LinkedIn. Big up to Namita, LinkedIn.
100%. I'm actually banned to say something else. So I would say LinkedIn. No, I'm just kidding. But I would say there are a couple of lots of new players coming as well, which are quite interesting. Bizarbo is an interesting app. GroupMe is an interesting app as well. Invitly, so some of these apps are all new and upcoming, and LinkedIn is in its 18th year. We celebrated 18th birthday, so LinkedIn is all grown up. But that also makes way for new innovators and new companies coming on board. We always look out for those. But I think just by the sheer member experience and the authenticity of the platform and what it stands for and how we connect the professionals around the world, I think there's a lot of people there and tons of stuff you can do. And now we have videos. We are very culturally inclusive because we have included pronouns that you could use for yourselves. We have used pronunciations for your name. So we're becoming very culturally inclusive. There's long form posts you can put in there. The platform has evolved in amazing ways. So I would say it's my go-to destination for sure.
Yes, and of course LinkedIn #1, and then you have dedicated community. It could be like, okay, it's 15 Tech, but not so hard. You have Slack community, for example, really dedicated one. So for growth hacker, for I don't know, entrepreneurs, for UX, UI, people. And I think sometimes it's really useful. You can like DM people, and so I think you need to really choose those who are really perfect fit. And if you really love and enjoy networking, you can have like randomly lunch club. They are matching you with new people just for the pleasure, and you can train with that because you have like if you're like an introvert, you can just try that perhaps because it's not like directly linked to your experience, and you can train. And so there's a lot of new tools, but perhaps just choose those who are really the perfect match with your needs.
Perfect. So ironically, but not so, I'm pretty sure that all our speakers will receive a lot of LinkedIn invitations to connect after this call. But yeah, sounds great. Do you have any final words before we close this session? Any additional anecdotes maybe or advice that we haven't touched upon yet through our questions? And if not, we'll close this session. Just
don't be shy and try. I don't know, but just first with us if you want. But don't be shy, and you have nothing to lose. So just something to regain, and so if you are not trying, you can have you can really know the power of the networking.
Perfect. These will be the final wise words. Thank you, Caroline, and thank you, Lorenzo and Namita, for your participation in this panel.
Thank you.
Insightful.
Thank you so much.
And,
bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.